Hello and welcome to the Oracle Report for the month of November 2025. Happy to have you joining. Um, if this is your first time, I'll just share a little bit about what I do here. So I come on usually fourth Sunday of the month. We record this live on Sacred Lights, the Sacred Lights Collective. And it's also posted later on both my personal YouTube channel and the Sacred Lights YouTube channel. And I share different messages for the upcoming month. And these messages come from a variety of avenues. Typically, it's a mixture, or often it's predominantly channeling, but also different themes that have come up in psychic readings that I do, different messages and pieces of wisdom that seem to be reoccurring there and are an important resonance in the collective. They might come through dreams, different astrology aspects, and and they're all meant to really just share some of the collective wisdoms and messages for this upcoming month, how to work with the collective energies and do so in a way that helps you stay in alignment and from a place of, the least amount of suffering, most amount of fulfillment. And that's really what the aim is here. Also want to share that because there's a lot of timeless wisdom in the Oracle report, it sometimes can be beneficial to kind of trust your intuition and pick a past Oracle report that you want to listen to, tune into it, and just see what different pieces are resonating for you there. Um, so if ever now you're feeling called, I just want to keep that door open, that could be a possible benefit. So I usually start off by drawing a card for the collective. And today we are pulling from the Archangel Animal Oracle Record cards by Diana Cooper. I have this here and a really pretty card, so I just have to show you that too. Beautiful image. Yeah, so I'll start by pulling a card there, and then I'll share the different themes and messages and wisdoms that have come forward to support you for the month of November. So I invite you to listen with an open heart and an open mind. As with all psychic messages, they're nonlinear. They're from the realms of energy, from the realms of spirit, which are nonlinear. So they might apply in nonlinear and creative ways. But tune into your own heart, your own intuition, see what feels right for you, and something may make sense right away. It may make sense later. Something might apply to you with like 90% in November, and then other things might feel like they're 20%, or maybe you're just seeing them more out in the world than you're experiencing them yourself. So with collective messages, they do apply to us all, but there are unique ways in which they do. So I also think it's fun, and I like to mention this every time to make sure this door is left open to kind of measure what I share against your own intuition, especially those of us who are psychically developing our intuition, and who might feel a call to work with some of the collective energies in their life. It can be really fun to kind of see what you think is coming in the month ahead, reflect on where you're at, and then measure it against what I have to share, see what kind of finds a resonance or not. Okay, so we'll get started. Oh, and also, if you're able to join us live on Sacred Lights, at the end, there is an opportunity always for free mini readings. I can pull a card for you. We can look into a question. You don't have to ask a question. I can just pull a card and share something, that can be fun. So, yeah, if you're able to join us, for that. It's a cool opportunity. All right, we're gonna pull a card to start from this deck here. Let's see what we have. Okay, interesting. uh, One of my favorite animal helpers, owl. Listen to the messages of the angels. Okay, I'll read a little bit from the description, and yeah, we'll see how things flow from there. I know I've had, not that this is uncommon, but probably an extra percentage of dreams of owls in the last few weeks or so. All right. Okay. Owls are fifth dimensional birds from Lacume. Not familiar with that, but the ascended aspect of Sirius. They carry the wisdom of their home star in their energy fields. They are known as wise owls because their energy enlightens people and also because they have big round eyes. Their sole mission is to hold the blueprint of the fifth dimensional vision for our planet as we move toward the new golden age. They try to impress this onto people and animals and inspire them to raise their frequency. Owls serve as teachers. At night, they gather together elementals in their area and impart knowledge and wisdom to them to help them ascend. They are very protective of them. They also clear lower energies from their particular territory and are helped in this by cats. Some species of owl hoot or screech. Others growl, chirp, whistle, or make a different sound. Okay, I'm just gonna jump. There's a teeny bit more here about to the guidance part. Um, this is the card of the wise teacher, and you are being advised to use your knowledge carefully. You're not just imparting information. When you communicate, the energy in your aura is raising the frequency of those you speak to and helping to enlighten them. This is a sacred mission. Start to notice how people are drawn to you and choose your words judiciously because you have more impact than you realize. Be aware that you are clearing and cleansing the energy around you. This means that you need to take extra care of yourself and rest more. Give yourself time to absorb the messages of the angels. Uh, yeah, it's not as directly related to what's come through for this month, but there are a couple aspects that are um, that I want to highlight for a moment. So one was this piece about owl and how owl can support us in clearing energy, both in our personal energy fields and out in nature and in the world. Um, and how there are folks who are doing that. This came to the surface for this month. And let's see here. Yeah, there was some attention being called to how much we might do in our energy field uh, in terms of like clearing for the collective or helping to lift other people's vibration or even just, you know, kind of like the daily heaviness that's out in the world. And our relationship with that is creating a need for kind of some extra labor that is unseen. This is it's like energetic labor to clear that's happening um, at a higher rate right now because of the world and where we're at and how things are evolving and progressing and some of the difficulty and the challenge and the suffering that we see. Um, you know, especially for those of us who are sensitive. And like I've said before, if you're listening here, you're probably sensitive, you're probably intuitive, psychic, and for you, it's just like extra so that you might be absorbing things from the outside. And actually, this did come up in a few readings this month now that I think about it. So, yeah, I wonder about this message for us to bring some awareness to, um, and kind of an acknowledgement of how much energy we might be moving that we can't see. Um, and the way that spirit was bringing forward to engage with that process was with gratitude. And they recommended that we start with ourselves, like looking back on our lives and thinking about all that we have done and seen, unseen, but just holding a moment of gratitude for ourselves, for, yeah, all that we've done in the past that's gotten us to where we are, our mental efforts, our emotional efforts, our physical actions and efforts, our spiritual actions and efforts, and just choosing to be born on this planet. um, but honoring how we show up and where we're sitting right now, and how every moment that we've chosen to be in a place of love and truth has built where we are right now. And how can we take a moment to feel grateful for that, um, as a way to, they said, okay, we're like acknowledging maybe all this unseen effort, and in that we actually feel like less dragged down. Our vibration lifts a little bit easier. We might feel a little less tired or overwhelmed or frustrated or confused through this process. And they brought attention to like a particular need for that in the month of November. Um, talk a little bit more about that in a minute, but see if there's anything else I want to say about owl. Uh-huh. The choosing your words judiciously. This piece came up a little bit as well, in the sense of, some of this actually came up last month, like what are we contributing to, love or hate, and the polarity that's in the world right now, and these like really strong conflicting energies that make us feel maybe like we have to choose a side. And that was an aspect of what came up too. So actually, I think I'm just gonna dive in, and maybe if there are other pieces about owl to weave in as we go, we can. So one thing I did different this month is that I took a look into each week in November. I broke it into four. Um, so it's about roughly that. So in the first week, what came forward as kind of the main energetic available and moving in the first week was this energy of clarity and discernment, and um, a greater possibility for us to clear clutter, especially like, it could be like in the mental field, anything that is disrupting our perception of the truth and our relationship with the truth. So this could show up like subtle, or it could be really obvious, like and palpable. Maybe there's a situation where you find out something that you kind of had no idea about, some kind of truth that comes to light in your relationships, or in your work, or it could be just like a spiritual truth, like kind of coming to more of a place of clarity as opposed to doubt or confusion. But this is available to everyone in different ways for this first week. Um, there's some kind of truth that is revealed, and some opportunity for us to engage with that. And one of the pieces that they shared to watch for in this is kind of like not accepting the truth, like wanting to go back because maybe this piece of truth feels uncomfortable, or like ugly, or um, yeah, it just doesn't kind of fit easily into our worldview. And there is this capacity in particular, where we might want to just like push it off to the side. Like, I don't know how to integrate that. And the encouragement is to um, not push it off to the side as best we can, even if we're in a place of, I don't know how to integrate that yet, receive it, and then allow it to inform you over time. Don't go back to a place of of non-truth, or where you were before that kind of clarity came in, just because it's different, I guess, or it maybe you don't want to believe it. You know, we have to, I guess, learn our way with this new way of relating to truth, whereas before it might have been like it's like a layer of it. It's like, okay, we had our relationship with the truth, and now we're like deepening. So what we had before wasn't necessarily untrue, but it was one aspect of it, and we're deepening into like a more multidimensional perspective, you know. So instead of just seeing one side of something, it's like, oh, okay, this other side is revealed, and how can I just allow that to start to integrate? And along with this energetic, it's very connected to the energy of justice. And I heard a couple of things. So one thing that I did hear in this was truth wins in the end. And there's like an encouragement for having faith in that, because a lot of us don't, or at least at times, it's just like kind of part of being human, and probably part of being human right now, where faith is really challenged. We're seeing and hearing of things that will challenge that. And the point that they spoke of, the guides, is like not to allow that to drop you into a place where it was like depression or anger or bitterness or more confusion, but to allow it to elevate you. And faith and trust kind of helps with that, and your relationship with the divine and with light um, helps you be with all that is. um, so another thing that was here was about those of us who might consider yourself like a witch or a priestess, a shaman, a medicine person, energy worker. There's an opportunity for calling upon justice with this particular energy. So clarity, discernment, truth revealed also connects to justice. And there's a bit of a call, if there's some kind of prayer that you want to say, and just we want to allow that energy to anchor here. Even if you're not seeing it happen, believe that you have the power to, at the very least, because you have the power for your own choices. And this was the next week. The second week was a bit about this. But you have the power of choice, and sometimes it doesn't feel like that, because certainly, we might only have certain options, or there's a part of us that wants this thing and we can't have it. But we do always have choice. We do always have the choice, like how to show up and how to be with anything that we're interacting with. And um, from that place of choice and power, we can start to call upon, at the very least, in ourselves and in our space, or in the land that we tend, or people that we work with, the energy of justice, and ask that it reveal the way to anchor it. Or you can even imagine it's this ball of energy. Blue could be a good color, or just like maybe like a really clear, kind of crystalline. Ask, how can we anchor it? Imagine it anchoring into the earth, and unfold how we can bring more of that. Um, okay. So yes, the second week, um, energy around this week was about choice and balance. I saw kind of this split, and this is again like a bigger dynamic happening right now with polarity and conflict in our world, and split, and especially like politically in America, is huge chasm, divide, um, division. So, what wanted to be said about this is that, well, one thing you might have like a choice to make within the second week that is particularly prominent, um, or could affect a lot in your life, or that you're just like a little bit hung up on. Um, and part of the purpose for this energetic was like addressing division and this kind of facing fear that might make any one of us feel like unsafe or like we're not fulfilling our purpose. Like, okay, if I choose this, what if I fail? Or if I choose that, um, I don't know, what if I die? Or like, what if this bad thing happens? Or I never get to actualize this dream? And like, what is the energy behind that? That's fear mostly. And how can we make choices from a place of centered, balanced? So this is where we come to the word like when we have the division energy, we come to balance, center. So we find ourselves first, and then we can make a choice from a place of center, from a place of love, truth, clarity, resonance, which is our center. That's our deeper home. And yeah, there's an opportunity for us to deepen into this within ourselves, so that because no matter how good we are at that, life can always meet our edges. It can bring us into fear, and that's part of the journey, part of this dream that we're in. Spirit dreaming, we get to experience that choice and this experience of what we are not really, because we are not fear. We really are love. And in that process, we get to claim it. And it's kind of, I don't know, I guess we think that's fun because here we are. um, yeah, so second week, how can I come to my center? How can I make choices based on trust, based on love, based on my truth? And knowing that no matter what choice you make, you can't escape your destiny. I will always find you. And the correct energy will always find you. And now that I think of it too, this kind of, I mean, this is common to come up in a reading because many people will come to a reading if they have a certain choice to make. But this did come up quite a bit, where there were choices. And, it's like, I don't know, could be that, could be that, could be that. And usually it's like when we're making a choice, all of the pieces we're feeling have some place to go, and some way to express themselves. And we can't really make a wrong choice. Um, okay. So the third week, um, this had the energetic around it of like facing oppression and releasing um, our attachment to it, ways that we might like feed it, and also attachment to temptations to kind of like be in our lower self. And also when we make choices that are maybe our more egoic choices, or it's like that wasn't our best choice, or we were coming from fear or our, yeah, like more dense vibrations, um, being able to clear and forgive ourselves for like whatever happened in the past, because we and maybe others as well, um, while there is at times like a need to reflect, um, to clarify, and to set boundaries with others who maybe are not making good choices, we can still kind of like, namaste, like inner light in me acknowledges the inner light in you, and we could do that for ourselves. Like, I was doing my best, and I'm willing to show up with some love and compassion. And this is kind of the healer, the balancing energy that will help us release our attachment uh, to, and I don't think like attachment to oppression. I don't think anyone really feels like they're attached to oppression. I'll just say that. It's more, it was being described as like an energetic attachment of humanity that is kind of playing out. And when we see that, like there is actually oppression happening, but the way to deal with it, we're learning different ways, how it's the more true ways, and it's again like layers, it deepens every time. Past wasn't necessarily wrong. It's just we have to be willing to be in this like evolution, the spiraling evolution where we're always learning more and deepening our awareness. So we're deepening our awareness on the attachments that are there with humanity and oppression, and maybe the ways that they were dealt with in the past weren't effective, and it's like, all right, what are the new ways to approach them? And one of the ways that they said, like, strengthens the attachment energy to oppression and actually allows it to play out more in our life, maybe personally, maybe politically, maybe um, economically, um, is through like feeding that by not not healing pretty much our wounding around kind of the suffering that we see in the world with oppression, and we almost like put ourselves under oppression when we're like, like fighting it and have a lot of energy there. Then it's like, yeah, we're like giving into it. So they talk about in the third week in particular, something could show up for you, or there is like an opportunity energetically to, maybe you want to do a ritual or just say like a little prayer that week of, I'm willing to release my attachment to oppression. And um, they also talked there were like a couple other words that came through connected to oppression. There was addiction and obsession, which is like a slightly different expression of that energy. But yeah, it could be like something for you to look at, or you could notice something going on with someone else where there is like this, like, it's like too much energy is being fed into this oppression, addiction, obsession, and it's actually starting to hinder rather than um, do what we all want, is to like not be a slave to any of these energies, not be like giving our light to feeding that in the world. And we all want to see something different, I think. I say we all, but I like feel like the best of us all wants that not to be here, wants goodness here. Um, and if we really want to create that, there's new wisdom coming forward of how can we do that, and it's different than the past. So again, we have this theme of like not being too attached to the past ways of doing it, and kind of like blessing them and letting them evolve, letting the new layers come through. Okay, so the fourth week, the energy of this week was, again, balance was coming through, and abundance, celebration, accomplishment, and gratitude. Um, so this kind of makes sense. It would be towards this time where some folks are celebrating Thanksgiving, maybe some other celebrations of similarity, where we're appreciating abundance and appreciating um, family, and maybe having gratitude for all of ours or other accomplishments, having gratitude for the earth's abundance, the full belly, the satiety. I think I'm saying that right, but so I talked a little bit about this when we were going over owl, um, where there was a specific suggestion with this energetic to bring some gratitude for where we are now, in relationship to all of our efforts of the past and especially all of our unseen efforts. And there's also a specific message of gratitude for the earth and the elements, the elementals, and how much they give to us. And really the like earth mother matter, but us being able to be alive. Um, it's a gift, and it can be really hard to remember that sometimes, but it truly is. Okay. All right, so a couple of other pieces to touch on. Those were the 4 weeks. So just to review, first week, clarity, truth revealed. Second week, choice, facing fear and balance. Third, releasing attachment to oppression, addiction or obsessive energy. Um, and fourth, abundance, celebration, and gratitude. Okay. So this next message was essentially about kind of tapping into our spiritual resilience. Um, so these are not easy times, and it can be difficult to find our alignment. And, like sometimes when I think of the word resilience, I almost feel immediately tired. I don't know if anyone else feels that way, but I just think of like, oh, I gotta like put out more energy to like, or like grit my teeth through some experience. And like, why? Why do we have to do that? Do we have to do that? Is kind of immediately where I go. And there is a wisdom in that because I think like true spiritual resilience um, actually comes from a place that doesn't quite feel like that. It feels more like we're accessing this well of light, this well of goodness uh, that is us, this well of love. We're accessing that, and it's actually that comes through us as the energy rather than having to like, yeah, like labor, push, force. It empowers, and it's a different experience. So, yeah, this one theme that was talked about for the whole month is this kind of opportunity to access your spiritual resilience, your spiritual strength and courage. Um, and say this all the time. Probably have said it on Oracle Report before, but courage, root word, core, which relates to the heart. So us coming to our heart, our center, and again, that's where the energy is coming from. And there was a particular, like I saw this like it's like a stitching or like an energy connection that was happening between this, our relationship to this well within us. I mean, because it can't go anywhere. That exists no matter what we experience in our life. However, that doesn't mean we're always accessing it and allowing it to support us and be a part of our day to day choices and way of being, and allowing it to energize us and allowing us to know how to act or not act um, for like the highest good, for fulfillment. We're not always doing that. No, it's like a constant process to do that, and that's part of what spiritual practice is about. Is like aiming to that every day. And some days it's clearer, some days it's less clear. But the stitching was between like that relationship and what we're putting out into the world, and um, Like I particularly see this with different structures in our world. Um, Economic, political, medical, um, like social community based, the different structures that we have in place for these things. I see us being able to have strength and courage in the face of these structures changing, showing us aspects that we say, hey, we don't like that. That needs to shift. But, also feeling like maybe we can't make it shift, or it's like something being kind of pushed on us, or we have the divisions happening and we don't agree. Um, so there's this like opportunity for us to come from a place of that the inner well of our spiritual resilience, our spiritual courage and strength, rather than coming from a place of like tiring ourselves out and feeling defeated if it doesn't look how we think it's supposed to look, but feeling actually instead filled up from within and knowing how to move and respond to what we're faced with. And we all have our different part in that. One aspect of this that was shared was to keep your light strong. um, Recognize how much you do and create space for the sacred to come through, for you to access that inner well. There's a real encouragement for that this month. Um, and in doing this alongside the dramas that come forward, alongside the devastation that happens, alongside the conflicts, because that is really where things will be healed from this place of like filling yourself up first from what's real, not from effort, not from force, but from this spiritual well. Fill your cup. um, there's a few directions I could go, so there's a few messages that came forward, but I'll say first, along with this, there was a piece about um, protecting the land, protecting the goodness of humanity. It said protecting humanity, but it wasn't just like protecting all of humanity, it was protecting the best of humanity, which um, the way it was described is like we might not even really, for we, like the collective, might not really see that very clearly any longer. Um, but this need for like applying our strength and courage and our spiritual resilience and our fortitude, um, to help protect the land, to help protect the access that we each have to this spiritual inner well, and um, our relationship with that, and to help protect the natural resources that animals, the plants, the fungi, and the good in humanity. Um, and they said this can only be done through filling your cup, and this is like part of what this energy to it connects to that, the energy in the fourth week of gratitude and abundance and celebration. And I'll just say now, since we're here, there's also some mention about this energetic about like what is true abundance, and ways that we can receive, and not just like really thinking about the week three, the like temptation energy, the attachments to physical things that we think we need to be okay. Rather than that, we want to be coming to a place with like what is true abundance, and how can we go there first, fill our cup with that light, with our, access that well, to really learn to receive, rather than say, hey, actually, universe, like I need a car, or this type of car, or I need this type of house, or I need this job, or this to be okay. This is actually what abundance is. And then I'll feel safe, I'll feel okay. So, not that we don't have to think about the material, we do, but there's more of this like a slight shift because some of us are getting, and not just some of us, it's like the energy that is in the collective is kind of spinning us and um, drawing us into an attachment with that, with materialism in that way, whereas it's like, that's not really where we find what we're looking for. We think that's where it is. And not that it doesn't matter, but there's actually more to look at here. And the encouragement is to fill yourself up. Look at your relationship with receiving, with abundance. Ask yourself what true abundance is. See if you can just go into sacred space um, and imagine you're a cup and just let yourself be, like light, be poured in. Um, so what this does is it actually allows us to have a strong spiritual foundation, and then that starts to shift our relationship with the actual material world. And it's in a way that's more sustainable. It's like kind of building from the bottom up rather than trying to like pull all these different things in so we don't have to deal with that fear. It's like, okay, then I'll feel good once I have all those things. um yeah, so there's an energy too that's in this of joy and lightness, again connected to the celebration, especially in the fourth week. And how can you bring that in? Expansiveness, even this month, something about I didn't look into this too deeply, but Jupiter was showing up, which it's as the biggest planet, usually in relationship to like expansion and freedom, and also teaching, um, spiritual teaching, have that coming through again, like Owl was sharing. Ganesh, connected to the energy of Ganesh, that expansiveness, lightness, fulfillment. So how can you really find your fulfillment? How can you access that deeper well and what really matters in your life and what don't you need anymore? Because in that process, a lot of times we realize, oh yeah, like either that thing has served its purpose, it's ready to go, or it's just it was coming from a place that wasn't really my truth. Okay. Right, another little offshoot of this is connected again to the spiritual resilience piece, um, and being able to access our courage, our strength. Um, the word that came through was cooperation, and how it's beneficial for us to, in especially with the division energy, learning how to cooperate from a place in the heart. And this isn't like, it was really clear too. It's like, this doesn't mean that we give up our um, truth or like fold, I guess. Um, it's more about, mm, it's like this standing in a strong but supple, fluid knowing. It's like we're not gonna just crumble or give in when we see something that we don't think is right, And there are sometimes that we do have to stand up to that and to access our strength and our courage and maybe take some kind of action that aligns with what is right. But it's like we are really learning about how to do this in a different way right now, and I don't really even know what all of that means. But it's bringing up a lot for us in humanity. Um, and how can we all act from our heart, from the light that never goes out, this well that's here, um, without kind of attaching too much to the past, allowing things to shift and change, making peace with the past, allowing um, the dance to play out, and not getting too like attached to how it's playing out, but just staying connected to the light within us. And that is like our true safety. And we just play our part in that. Um, and not getting too, there's like the healing that has to happen too for the places where we have felt like oppressed or victimized, or like there's been serious unconsciousness or harm. Um, but that doesn't like the that doesn't have to take us away from, and it doesn't ever actually put our light out. That is always safe. And all we have to do is really like bring our attention this month to accessing that. Um, and this piece around how cooperation and teamwork supports that. It's like we're learning how to not be so polarized with the cooperation and teamwork. Instead of like the hierarchy, maybe having a council instead of having to choose like fighting and aggressive energy in order to make something stop or change, or on the other side, just choosing to fold or crumble or just like kind of like weakness and backing off. There's this middle ground that we're being guided to that we have found in the past, but a new layer of that is being called for us. Like, where is our center in that? And um, how can we respond from that place instead of the kind of polarized responses? And what they say is at the center that attention is being called to this month is and there's also another opportunity here for those who might practice rituals or do energy work, um, where you can visualize the energy of harmony, peace, this joy centered love, and have yeah, I guess faith in your ability and all of our ability to call upon that here and to create that as our dream, to add that in. It's strong. It's a strong energy. It's real, and we can call upon it. And as we're doing it together, cooperating together to call upon this without maybe getting too lost in the details of it, figuring out how we can all work together for the greater good. Um, it's stronger, and our ability to create is a lot stronger together. Okay, so if there's anything else here. Okay, no, I think that about wraps it up. All right. Thank you so much for joining. Always welcome any questions or comments, and it is really, really helpful if you can like on both my personal YouTube and the Sacred Lights YouTube. Comments, please. They really help us start to spread the word about this offering. Um, yeah, this is something that it's a free offering, and something you can give back is just simple little like or a share that helps it to grow. And it's newer on YouTube too, so we're building that up and really appreciate you helping out. Um, I post the oracle card always in Sacred Lights once in a while on social media, but definitely always there in Sacred Light, so you can read the full description. I didn't read it all today. There's just a little bit more, but you can kind of read and tune in and go slower through it and see what stands out to you. Also include a picture of the card. Yeah, and I love hearing about how things land for you or what shows up in the month. So always feel free to reach out. Thank you so much. Happy November, and I will see you next time.